So since I want to make a video every day and I'm having some trouble coming up with the material, I don't have any trouble coming up with a informal format of the material, but I want to make it as understandable as possible. So I have an idea, and that is to read someone else's work and try to explain it to the viewer. And I'm going to go ahead and have a high ambition goal of trying to understand the CTMU, which is a theory created by Chris Langan, and I have his book in front of me, and I will keep reading from the part that I stopped, and hopefully I will have some insight and try to make something of it. So I stopped at this diagram 3, the universe as a self-excited circuit, and you can click for an animation. And diagram adapted from Wheeler G.A. Beyond the Black Hole. In some strangeness in the proportion, a centennial symposium to celebrate the achievements of Albert Einstein, Wolf H. edition, Addison Wesley, 1980, page 362. Wheeler, an eminent and highly capable representative of those familiar with the advantages and deficiencies of our current models of reality, did not arrive at the given illustration as an isolated speculation. In conjunction with several other Wheeler concepts, the participatory universe, law without law, and it from bit, the self-excited circuit amounts to a preliminary but well-considered program for describing the physical universe. According to its mandate, the true description of reality must possess two novel features not found in any dominant paradigm: one, global structural and dynamical reflexivity, or self-excited circuitry, with perception an integral part of the self-recognition function of reality; two, matter-information equivalence and identification up to isomorphism of concrete physical reality with information, the abstract currency of perception. Together, these features constitute a cosmological extension of cybernetics, or equivalently, a meta-cybernetic extension of cosmology. Wheeler characterizes these four concepts as follows. The self-excited circuit participatory universe is a self-excited circuit in the sense that it implicates observers in perceptual ontological feedback. It is a logic loop in which physics gives rise to observer participancy gives rise to information, and information gives rise to physics. Self-excited circuit. Alright. The next one is the participatory universe. The cognitive and perceptual process of observers are integral to the self-excitative feedback of reality. Self-excitative feedback of reality. This is asserted by the participatory principle, or participatory entropic principle, which Wheeler informally describes as follows. Is stronger than the entropic principle is what I might call the participatory principle. According to it, we could not even imagine a universe that did not somewhere and for some stretch of time contain observers, because the very building materials of a universe are these acts of observer participancy. This participatory principle takes for its foundation the absolutely center point of the quantum. No elementary phenomenon is a phenomenon until it is an observed or registered phenomenon. Someone's talking to me on Steam. Alright. This participatory principle takes for its foundation the absolutely central point of the quantum. No elementary phenomenon is a phenomenon until it is an observed or registered phenomenon. Emphasis added. Note that on some level of generality, the last sentence identifies observation with registration and thus implicitly equates human and mechanical recognition, observed or registered phenomenon. Okay, so what I'm getting from this is something that looks like what the philosopher called Berkeley introduced to its time, and that is the concept that since science is determined by observation, then it must be the most fundamental aspect of reality, and matter, in order to exist, must be observed. So observation is the fundamental, not matter itself, right? The abstract currency of perception. That's okay. Sorry, that's Next page. Can be taken as given when it comes to cosmogony. In Professor Wheeler's own words, to me, the greatest discovery yet to come will be to find how this universe coming to being from a Big Bang developed its laws of operation. I call this law without law or order from disorder. Imagine the universe with all its regularities and its laws coming to being out of something usually helter-skelter, higgledy-piggledy, and random. If you were the Lord constructing the universe, how would you have gone about it? It's inspiring to read the life of Charles Darwin and think out the division of plant and animal kingdoms. All this myriad of order came about through the miracles of evolution, natural selection, chance mutation. To me, this is a marvelous indication that you can get order by starting with disorder. Yeah, I don't think so, because the universe starts with order. And this is not a comment by Chris Langan, by the way. This is a comment by... I guess it's someone else. I guess it's, Professor Wheeler's own words. To me, the greatest discovery, And I think that the universe is not starting from disorder. The universe is starting with very specific and rigid physical laws. And it leads us to the entropic principle. In order to have a selection, you need to have laws. And okay, so are there as many laws as we can think of? It from bit. Okay, next. I will answer this in a moment, so I'll just keep reading for now. It from bit. Reality deduces or produces itself in the form of information residing in quantum events. As Wheeler summarized in his paper Information Physics Quantum, the search for links, every physical quantity, every it, derives its ultimate significance from bits, binary yes or no indications. He then goes on to discuss this concept at length, offering 3 questions, 4 no's and 5 clues about the quantum informational character of reality. The questions are as follows. How come existence? How come the quantum? How come the one world? Out of many observer participants, the no seductive pitfalls to be avoided in answering the 3 questions include no tower of turtles, no laws, no continuum, no space or time. And the clues which light the way toward the true answers include the boundary of a boundary zero, no question, no answer, the super-Copernican principle, consciousness, including the quotes, and more is different. We now give a brief account of these questions, precautions, and clues. How come existence? Okay. The ontological and cosmological thrust of this question is obvious. In some form, it has bedeviled philosophers from time immemorial. I have to say that a concept that I want to talk about is the idea that there are more than 3 dimensions and the idea that there are less than 3 dimensions. And I will argue that there are necessarily 3 dimensions, and when we study 2-dimensional geometry, it implies that there is a third dimension there, right? As long as it's a spatial relation, it implies that there is a third dimension there. I will move on a bit from the topic here in the book, and go ahead and say that I think I can prove that there are no more than 3 dimensions, because I can make a logic structure that represents the spatial 3 dimensions. And if you don't believe in space as that, then logically you can't call them dimensions. You have to call them other things. You need another word. How come existence? The ontological and cosmological thrust, I read that. As interpreted by Wheeler, it leads to 4 inevitable conclusions. 1, the world cannot be a giant machine ruled by any pre-established continuum physical law. Okay, so if we are saying that there is a law like complete disorder, or like every possible set of physical laws exist, and which basically sums up to the multiverse. And the multiverse can be refuted very easily with baby tier mathematics, and basically the argument is that when you're making a probability, you're saying, oh, okay, so some universe can have a couple of laws, and some universe can have very I don't know, a big set of laws, like instead of four fundamental forces as we have here in reality, we could have like 20,000 fundamental forces, and they are all fundamental. And to have a randomization like that, you need to have a limit, right? You can, if you're picking a number from 0 to infinity, it's very unlikely that this number is going to be small, like 4. So I can build a universe with 50,000 fundamental laws, and this universe can contain life, and I can also do that with 300 million times that amount. So there's not a limit here. So the fact that the universe is reduced to only 4 fundamental forces is a mathematical proof that multiverse. It's a very easy mathematical proof that the multiverse is a lie. The other point is that also, when you have the rule that every universe exists, that is a rule itself, and it can be contained within a universe, right? So you either believe in a first cause, or you have to kind of believe in multiverse. There's also the Leibniz argument. The Leibniz argument says that if there are many universes, and I think Leibniz was a very much smarter man than Newton, from what I know. And basically Leibniz says that if there are many universes, and as many as there could be, and then certainly there is a God in one of it, or in one of his universe. And if there is a God in one of his universe, then by definition of God, this being also controls our universe. Yeah, it's it's an interesting argument, but I think I'm kind of smarter than Leibniz, to be honest. But it's an interesting one. Okay, how come existence, a world cannot be a giant machine ruled by any pre-established continuum physical law? Yeah, continuum, that's it, that's right. There is no such thing at the microscopic level as space or time, or space-time continuum. The familiar probability function, or functional and wave function, or functional wave equation, of standard quantum theory provide mere continuum idealizations, and by reason of this circumstance concealed information theoretic source. I'm having a hard time understanding this. That's why I'm reading such a bad pace, from which they derive. 4. No element in the description of physics shows itself as closer to primordial than the elementary quantum phenomenon. That is, the elementary device intermediated act of posing a yes or no physical question, enlisting an answer, or in brief, the elementary act of observer participancy. That's a very interesting point. Otherwise, as stated, every physical quantity, every it, derives its ultimate sequence from bits. Okay, so bits are defined as binary answers, as a binary data, and it's fundamentally a set of binary yes or no's, right? And this means that observation must rely on this. It's not just that. If you guys have seen my other videos, I think I mentioned that Turing machines necessarily have to operate on the evaluation question, or that is a yes or no question. Like if you're a programmer, you're familiar with a if-then structure. And it's not only that, but it's interesting because it seems observation itself relies on bits, and so everything that could possibly be in reality also relies on bits. It's not just that it can be described by language, it necessarily relies on bits. It's very interesting. A conclusion which we epitomize to the phrase "it from bit." Yeah. How come the quantum? Why is the universe made up of apparently propter hoc non-deterministic but post hoc information quantum events? As Wheeler observes, quantum physics requires a new view of reality. What then is the exact logical relationship between the quantum and the new view of reality demands? What is this new view, and how does the quantum fit into it? How come there one mirror out of many observer participants? Insofar as the term observer participants embraces scientists and other human beings, this question invites a quasi-anthropological interpretation. Why should a universe consisting of separate observers with sometimes conflicting agendas and survival imperatives display structural and nomological unity? Where observers are capable of creating events within the logical unitary manifold of their common universe, why should they not be doing it strictly for themselves, each in his or her own universe, and never the twain shall meet? Where the observer participant concept is generalized to include non-entropic information transducing system. What is holding all these systems together in a single unified reality? So my plans to make this video 20 minutes long, by the way. No Tower of Turtles. What? No Tower of Turtles. Borrowed from William James, this aphorism means no infinite regress to ever prior cause of domains and principles. To this we might equate an updated version of a well-known aphorism credited to Harry Truman. The explanatory buck stops here, where here refers to this reality that we actually inhabit and observe. To this, Wheeler adds a crucial insight. To endlessness, no alternative is evident but a loop. Just as physics gives rise to observer participancy gives rise to information, and information gives rise to physics. Only such an ontological loop is capable of forming a lariat wide and strong enough for the theoretical lassoing of reality. The task at hand is therefore to locate a way to make it and a medium in which to wield it. No laws. As Wheeler states, the universe must have come into being without even a pre-existing plan. Only a principle of organization, which is no organization at all, would seem to offer itself. I'm trying to understand this. Or, to reiterate, the world cannot be a giant machine ruled by any pre-established continued physical law. Why can't it be a law? I instinctively understand that, but I think I need more of a redundancy or redundant argument to convince other people, and mostly myself actually. There are things that you believe in, but sadly enough, you don't believe it all the time. Like you believe it when your brain is at an optimal performance. But you certainly don't believe some things in the morning, right? They will continue. The variable continuum of analysis and mechanics is a mathematical and physical chimera. Chimera is a Greek mythological creature, right? Usually associated with a set of real numbers. A continuum is a unified, extensible whole with a distance parameter that can be infinitely subdivided in such a way that any two distinct points are separated by an infinite number of intermediate points. Okay, so I've been researching on discreteness and non-continuity, and I swear to you, I didn't remember that Chris Langan was also aware of this, and I'm very happy to see it actually. Continuing, as Wheeler puts it, a half-century of development in the sphere of mathematical logic has made it clear that there is no evidence supporting the belief in the existential character of the number continuum. Some numbers, e.g. irrational ones like root of 2, cannot be precisely computed and therefore do not correspond to any physically meaningful location on a number line or physical trajectory. They have an abstract existence only. Okay, I don't agree with this, and this I'm sure when I say I don't agree with. And I think I will continue in the next video. I'll just make a commentary here. There is no root of 2. It's not just a physical impossibility, it's a logical impossibility. There is no root of 2. There it is.